NEWRA meeting, the North End Waterfront Residents Association. I'm Ford Cavallari, the president. I do want to remind everyone that we are, by the good graces of Matt Conti, we are being taped. So if there's anything that you want to say, think about the fact that it's going to be on the internet forever before you say it. I never do, but you should. So I just wanted to remind everyone we do have new officers and some old faces, familiar faces. Jen Crampton is our new secretary, and Ann DeLuca is our new treasurer. Robin Reed remains sergeant at arms, and Dave Goggins is now vice president. And committee chairs, Victor and Mary, are still here.
Old faces?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say old faces. I would say faces, familiar and comforting faces.
You want them to say ancient.
No. And also, David Marks, public safety, is also a committee chair. So I wanted to make sure that everyone knew that we have all these folks, and we're going to go through our reports as usual. But in the president's report, I've talked enough about BRA issues. I want to just talk a little bit about what it takes to be a neighborhood, what it takes, what are the elements of the community, because I've been thinking about it a lot. Robin was telling me stories. She used to live in Coolidge Corner back in the days when there were, I know, a different city, it's terrible. But there was a time she didn't live in Boston. But back in the days when there was like a Five and Dime there, and there were little markets, and there were a lot of local retail. And if you go there now, it's sort of like a mall without the covering. You've got the Gaps and you've got the big national chains. You do have Trader Joe's there, but it's again a big thing. And it's funny because talking to people who live there, they don't really consider it as much of a neighborhood anymore. They certainly don't mind living there. It's nice to be in the city and all that, but the question did come, it was raised to me about what it really takes to feel like you're in a neighborhood. And I think it's an important question right now because we in the North End are facing some of those crossroads situations. We certainly know that there's a lot of large developments that are talking about building and developments not just on the water, which we're very familiar with as well, but also along the Greenway. And also we just learned that the True Value Hardware building is going to be sold, and likely no more hardware store. And it actually got me thinking, like, well, what do we do without a hardware store? I mean, gosh, you got to go to Charlestown or you got to go somewhere else. And I was thinking about those things that we have in the North End that sometimes we don't take stock of. And so as we do our work as a residents association, and we vote on issues and we give variances where appropriate, or recommend that we recommend that licenses be awarded where appropriate, I think we should think about this issue. I know it's something David Kubiak has brought up, when I first started coming to NEWRA meetings. I would hear him talk about, how important retail is in the keeping the community alive, the North End, and how it's a rich history of, first floor retail and then residential above it in many places. And, we just need to ask ourselves, what elements do we want to keep? Are we cool with becoming, Coolidge Corner? Or do we want to think about, trying to preserve some of those things that we've grown used to, and perhaps without even realizing it, make this into a community for us, and we won't, many things you don't miss until they're gone, and we should be thinking about that. So I just wanted to wax eloquently about those things before we get into the actual agenda. The rest of my president's report is just going to be to introduce the various folks who are here. I want to ask folks who are with the city to introduce themselves. I know Maria has a couple of things she wants to say, but anyone else who's a city employee, please raise your hand and I'll call on you and speak a little bit. And this excludes the Project Oscar folks who are going to have their own deal at 8:10 on the agenda, although they can say hi at the beginning too. So.
Hi everyone, Maria Lanza, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. Just a couple of updates for you guys. I know I saw some of you Monday night, so kind of the same. But the Go Boston 2030 Transportation Initiative is having idea roundtables. They have one on Tuesday. The next one is this Saturday, November 14th, from 12 to 2:30 in Chinatown at the Quincy School, 885 Washington Street. And then next Thursday, November 19th, from 6 to 8:30 in Roslindale at the Roslindale Community Center, 6 Cummings Highway. So if you guys want to go share your ideas about the transportation in the future of the city, please attend. It should be great. Next up, the Mayor's Holiday Special. If you visit mayorsholiday.com, it's Arts Boston partners with the City of Boston to produce half-price tickets for all arts and cultural events across the city during the holiday season. There's tickets to the Nutcracker, the Pops, Elf Live, the Urban Nutcracker, all at discounted price through Arts Boston in the city. So definitely go to mayorsholiday.com and check it out. It's a great way to get out of town and spend some family time at a show or a play. And okay, this is an Imagine Boston 2030 update. So as you guys know, the Imagine Boston 2030 initiative for the future citywide plan has rolled out. And right now there are suggestion boxes. There's actually one right outside next to the breast cancer wall in the Nazaro, as well as at the North End Public Library, the North End Health Center, and also in the West End at the West End Public Library. So if you guys take a minute, get a pen and just write down a couple of your ideas for the future of the city and drop them in. Any feedback is great. And also now they're going to be rolling out visioning kits, where if you request a visioning kit, you can request one at imagine.boston.gov, or through my office, you can reach out to me. And a visioning kit basically is to hold kind of a mini meeting between whether it's 10 of your closest friends or neighbors. You could do one here at NEWRA. And kind of this just is a way to draft ideas for the future of the city. So Imagine Boston 2030, it's the city's first planning process since 1960. So we want all and any ideas that you guys would think making the city a better place. So if you're interested in getting a visioning kit or doing one here at NEWRA, please reach out to me and we'll start sending them out soon. Also, speaking of the future, winter is upon us, unfortunately. But the Boston Winter Weather Guide is out. You can pick one up at City Hall. I'm actually going to bring some by here to the Nazaro. Or you could go online. You can sign up for alerts at boston.gov/alertboston for all snow emergency alerts. And just getting ready for winter, so it's something to think about. And that's it. That's all I have.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you for that update. Are there any other city folks who want to say anything? Okay. Well, in that case, pardon? State. Well, yeah, state folks too. I don't mean to shrift the state.
I think Kathy is sick tonight.
Yeah.
State,
any federal officials here? I want to say one thing about Imagine Boston 2030 because it's an important planning process. There are some questions as to what the scope is going to be, and I've heard some land use officials inside City Hall suggest that, well, it's sort of a vision thing and it's not really going to be a real land use master planning process. And I think that there's still an opportunity to make Imagine Boston 2030 into what we want it to be, and frankly what we need it to be. And I'm very happy to report that Jerome Smith, your cabinet level person of Office of Neighborhood Services, has asked ADCO, the Alliance of Downtown Civic Organizations, to organize and host a number of planning sessions. We haven't yet determined exactly how we're going to do that, and I'm going to insist that we really sort of we figure out what the scope is, so we're not going in circles or reduplicating other efforts. But I'll keep you guys posted on what's going to go on there. And of course, NEWRA is a member of the Alliance Downtown Civic Downtown Civic organizations, and it's just the organization of other the downtown neighborhood organizations. Neighborhood Association of Back Bay, Beacon Hill Civic, West End Civic, Chinatown residents, Bay Village residents, South End Forum, and a couple of others I'm sure that someone will remind me that I've forgotten. So, anyhow, we will be tuning in to the planning process and trying to help the planning process as the months go by in the wintertime. Something fun to do over the wintertime, if you can get out of your house if we don't have a winter like we had last winter. So with that, membership committee report, please. Can I get a Mary?
Okay, if there is anyone who's a member who hasn't checked in, please do so, because that's the only way I can keep track of the attendance and who's eligible to vote. And if there is anybody who did not get a ballot who came in, please check with me. I have the ballots now. And that's pretty much it for membership. We've got another new member joining tonight, and they're very welcome. And so that's the report. So I would just like to add to what Ford said about being a neighborhood, and I think one of the important things is we are North End Waterfront Residents Association, and I just would like to remind everybody that we really have to think about the other person and what their issues are, and I don't think it's a good approach to say, well, you know, I live on the waterfront and therefore I don't care if there's some little project going up in the middle of the North End, nor is it a good approach to say I live on the other side of the North End and I don't care what's happening on the waterfront. We really have to stick together. I think it's so important that we do so. And unfortunately, I think there's some people who are in positions of authority in this neighborhood who don't think that way and don't do that. I hope that this organization will always do that.
Thank you. That's good. Well said. And also, I mean, you know, to reinforce that, I want to just say this, because if you look at the North End, no matter what, you know, part of the North End you live in, it's starkly noticeable if you go down North Washington Street. On the other side, gargantuan buildings. Some of them maybe don't look so nice. And on our side, it's, you know, nice, you know, height limits. And if you look at all of the North End, the height limits are nice, and all around us, all around our border, big buildings on the other side of the Greenway. And there's a battle line on the edge of our neighborhood. And there are incursions that are about to be made to try to push that 55-foot height limit, I'm sure, along the Greenway on our side and in other places. So, yeah, I mean, we need to stick together on the big issues. And I think we've done a good job of that thus far. I want to make sure we stay together. And with that, I want to ask for the Parks and Open Spaces.
Some exciting things coming up. The trellis lighting in Christopher Columbus Park is going to take place on Monday, the 23rd. The festivities start at 5 p.m. The mayor will be there to flip the switch and turn the new trellis lights on. The Friends of Christopher Columbus Park have fundraised and sponsored, and members of that group have been replacing the lights on the trellis, replacing little Christmas tree lights with new LED lights. Bob Venuti, who's a NEWRA member, and Ford Tabulary have been very involved in that. So come out and hear some of the handpack artists play. There'll be coffee and hot chocolate and clam chowder and cookies and people dressed like elves. So come on out and see this great tradition in North End of the trellis being lit. The Parks and Open Spaces Committee that meets once a month is going to take a small winter sabbatical. We are not going to be meeting again until February. We are going to be meeting virtually by email. So if you were planning on coming, please know that we're not going to start again until February. And in February, we're going to start looking for some volunteers to help us with the tree inventory of the North End of Waterfront. And we will start that actual counting of the trees in April. So if anyone wants to help us with that, you can contact me or go to the Parks and Open Spaces Facebook page. And we would really appreciate any assistance with that. I was asked by Anthony Petruccelli to announce that he's holding an event called Eastie's Elves. It's Boston's largest ugly holiday sweater party. That's Friday, December 11th at 7 p.m. at the Hyatt Boston near the airport. Dinner, dancing, and holiday cheer, and the admission cost is one unwrapped toy for a child. So that seems pretty reasonable and sounds like a lot of fun. If you want more information about that, there is an email address. It's AP, as in Anthony Petrocelli, appcharity@gmail.com. And again, that's Friday, December 11th at 7 p.m. And we have yet another film happening in the North End, and we have someone here to talk about that.
Hello. I guess a lot of people there are getting familiar with me, but my name is Greg Kyoto, and I'm one of the location managers for a film called Live by Night, which is going to be filming in the North End next Friday, the 20th. For one day. There is a chance that that could be pushed to Saturday, the 21st. But the film Live by Night is based on a Dennis Lehane novel directed by Ben Affleck, who is also starring in the movie. And sort of the exercise that we've done when we filmed in the North End before, if parking is an issue, I live in the neighborhood and know that that's a big deal. And we will be taking up some parking on Commercial Street along Langone Park and the mouth of Prince Street, as well as other sporadic spaces near our set for vehicles and equipment that's proximity sensitive. But we will be providing parking vouchers for resident parking, that people who show their parking permit, we will be giving vouchers to the North End Garage. That will be valid during the times of our permit. The construct of the day is we're going to be filming at Prince and Margaret Street. And beginning on Monday, we will start to dress Margaret Street and that intersection to look like we would need it for the movie. The movie takes place in 1926, so there's going to be apple carts and laundry and awnings and Taylor haberdashery signs and things like that we're going to be hanging all week, getting ready to film on Friday, and like I said, it would be the one day of filming. As of now, the plan is we'll be morning at Margaret and Prince. We'll move up to Cops Hill Burial Ground for the second part of our day. We call that maybe noon to 2, noon to 3. And then we will leave the neighborhood and complete our day in doing some driving work in Charlestown. Residents of the North End might be familiar. Friday morning is trash day. Not the greatest day to actually film a movie that takes place in 1926 that has no garbage. So I'm working with the city and people on my end of things to sort of keep our footprint there, sort of clear of trash. We'll be flyering the neighborhood, letting everybody know how we will help alleviate that. It might be an early pickup, it might be 2 trucks doing it a little faster. It's to be determined, but the residents there will be flyered and made aware of what we hope to come up with that's easy for everybody. Also, flyers will be going out tomorrow, sort of letting people know, what our plan is, where they can be. There will be a closure on Prince Street from Thatcher to Lombard Place, and traffic will be diverted down Thatcher, which will be turned into a one-way the opposite direction that it is now. So from Prince, you'll head to Regina, and then getting away wherever you working with the city, Boston Police will be there to help traffic and deliveries and anything that needs to happen. If there are specific requests, something that comes up that needs special attention, Maria knows how to get a hold of me. We'll have contact information on the flyer that we can help schedule and make sure that we're interrupting your lives as little as possible. Basically, that's the other thing is that on Margaret Street, when I say this, it sounds kind of bigger than it really is, but there's going to be simulated gunfire on Margaret Street. The people on Margaret Street will hear it, but probably not much
That
beyond.
would be old days.
So there is a brief shootout. It's very, the shootout's very one-sided. And then one other thing with the movie that I'd like to sort of invite, that's kind of a unique thing, is our casting, Carolyn Pickman casting. We are trying to cast very specific characters for that scene, one of which is a young boy between the ages of 9 and 13, wanting a very particular sort of maybe classic Italian look to this young man. And anybody who's interested or whose son or nephew or whatever is available, we'd like to have them be from the neighborhood as part of the sort of the whole nuance of the thing. I've left a sheet here of how to get a hold of Carolyn if you want to just send a photo and contact information. I think this will be decided very quickly, but anybody who's interested in that, it would be compensated, and it would be 1 day of filming, as I said, the 20th, that we'd like to have them be available for the scene. Any questions of that can go through Carolyn. I'm on the flyer. Maria knows how to get a hold of me. There's ways to, if you have other questions as well.
Is this day and night?
No, it's just the day. It's just the day. It'll be a little, the sun cheats a little early, so we're going to cheat a little early, so it'll be, we'll be out there before 7, and then we will wrap up in the north end probably around 3, 4-ish with enough daylight to finish our driving scene in Charlestown. Great. So it'll just be 1 day.
The local kid isn't going to be killed.
No. No, he's part of the ambience of the scene. The scene will look pretty great, actually. I mean, I wasn't here in the 20s, but it's going to look very lively. There's going to be, different, fruit carts, a horse and carriage, old cars are going to be driving past the scene. A lot of Model Ts, that kind of thing. It's going to be pretty cool, a little bit involved. I did a movie in the North End last summer, Black Mass, which we did do a little bit of dress, but this is going to be a little bit larger in scope than that was. But
well, thank you.
Went swimming. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear about that.
Appreciate it. Thank you for your time. And again, this information for Carolyn, if you have anybody that might be interested in being in the film. Thank you again. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
You can stay for the whole meeting if you want. You can bring Ben then. Thanks. I appreciate it. Bye. See, I thought I had to ask. ZLC report, please.
Well, that's good timing. ZLC report, and
I waited for you, Victor.
ZLC, for the new faces that I see, is zoning licensing and construction committee. Welcome, new faces. Zoning licensing and construction met on October 27th, and there were 2 items on the agenda. Well, first I should try to explain to the new faces that it's a meeting before this meeting where it is for everyone to sit around the table and discuss issues that may come up affecting the butters or other members of the community. We have to work them out before this meeting when there was a vote up or down. So there were 2 items on the agenda on October 27. One was 162 Salem Street, Joe's Cozy Corner Restaurant, has applied for a wine and beer license, and they are here tonight on tonight's agenda for a vote. There were no butters or members of the community who appeared to be in opposition at the ZLC meeting. The only, 2 things that I want to add to the agenda. One is that the Theo has a common victualist license that is licensed to serve food to 8:30 at night, and if he gets the wine and beer license, he would be open until 8:30. Well, that is, there will be no change in the common victualist license. And the other item to add to Theo's Cozy Corner is there was a hearing before the licensing board on October 21. Decision was deferred until they could come here and seek the support of the Residents Association. The other item that was on the October 27th meeting was 536 Commercial Street, which is also on this agenda. That will be presented by Attorney Toscano. The only thing I can add to that is that was heard, that is an application concerning that address was heard by NEWRA in August of 2012. A different owner owned the building and wanted to install a roof deck. There was opposition by the butter. The roof, occupying the roof deck would look straight into the living room window. At the licensing board, at the Board of Appeals, sorry, the application was passed with the proviso that the deck be reduced to 150 square feet. And the new plans be submitted and approved by the Boston Development Authority. The applicant is here today, a new owner of the building, to have the proviso removed, and they will explain to you what their new plans are. I should also mention that, speaking of past ZLC meetings and past NEWRA meetings, 92 to 96 Salem Street, which is at the corner of Wicked Street, proposed by NEWRA on the September 10th meeting. The hearing before the Zoning Board of Appeal is January 26th. And next would be ZLC meetings to come, which should be November 17th, but there's nothing on the agenda. There are no licensing items nor zoning items. So that's next Tuesday, so I guess we won't have the ZLC meeting.
Unless something comes in.
Unless something comes, well, but they have to give neighborhood notice and so forth. And I have spoken to Dan, and he has nothing.
So long for 27.
Oh, okay.
We may get the time back.
So since there is no November ZLC meeting for me to talk about, I want to slip in something else, which has to do with zoning. It is the
Lightning round style, though.
what's that?
Lightning round style.
Yeah. Oh yes, of course, of course. Speaking as fast as I can, so to still understand me. Article 54 of the zoning code, the North End Neighborhood District. Something to read if you have insomnia. But if you get to section 7, the title is community participation. We have been told by the city that they would prefer that the community speak with one voice because they're unable to deal with several voices that perhaps have different tempers, different objectives. Well, section 54.7 says, the North End Civic Associations, residents, and business and trade groups shall continue to play an ongoing role in advising the city on land use planning for the North End. The code says there should be several voices and they should all be heard. And that is the end of this.
Yeah, I will just say one thing. I think one of the reasons Victor brought that up is because we have had some issues with, and Maria, take note of this, they're friendly issues that I'm hoping are all resolved in amicable discussion, but there has been a policy that somehow got put in place that if something's on a fast track and if one of the neighborhood groups hears it, it can go to the ZBA. And as a result, this group was not able to vote on the Pache parking lot. This group wasn't able to vote on, what was the last one we weren't able to vote on when we got skipped over?
Well, one Michelangelo Place.
Yeah, one Michelangelo Place, which, you know, wasn't a big deal. But I mean, considering it had been 2 times in 1 month, I sort of at that point blew the whistle and said, hey guys, you know, and Victor is right to point out that that's what the code says. And the ONS policy really needs to be to allow us to have a voice. And we're going to keep reinforcing that in a friendly way, of course, because we like everyone. Last report is public safety. Again, lightning round rules, because we're already running late. That's mainly my fault, but you're going to bear the brunt.
Good evening, everyone. Good to see a great turnout, as always, at the NEWRA monthly meeting. Part 1, crime. That's the sort of main categories of crime: assaults and batteries, robberies, larcenies, etc., etc. Similar to my last meeting at last month's meeting, last update, sorry. Citywide Part 1 crime is down 10% year to date. And in particular, in our district, A1 is down 17% year to date. So those are strong numbers. We can see that holding steady. There were 2 robberies in the 30-day period within the last month, roughly. They were both on October 19th. Many of you may have heard about this. It's the same suspects crossing Hanover Street. A gun was held to a victim's neck, and the suspect made off with $50. And then also that night at 271 North Street, $60 in credit cards were stolen. Now these suspects in these crimes I mentioned were identified by both victims. They were arrested. Strangely enough, they had taken a cab down here from Lawrence, Massachusetts. Not right around the corner. That's what they said. And one of those suspects had a warrant out for his arrest at the time. There was one residential breaking and entering at 59 Endicott Street. That was a domestic violence related incident. There was one auto theft at 455 Commercial Street. 1997 Toyota Avalon was stolen on October 7th between 2 o'clock p.m. and 8 p.m. There were 5 larcenies. One was at Golden Goose Market. Computer equipment and sandwiches were stolen. A wallet was taken from Mike's Pastry on October 17th at mid-evening, and a couple of Commercial Wharf copper piping was stolen. Believe it or not, that is something that does happen. There were 4 larcenies from a motor vehicle all throughout the north end, kind of scattered. 244 Hanover Street, an address on Prince Street, 5 North Square, and the corner of Hanover and North Bennett Streets. Greenway parks will now be officially closed between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. That is the policy. Good to report that there were very few loud party calls over the last month or so, but they were all quickly broken up. There were 6 arrests as well. 3 for robberies, 2 for assault and battery, that was domestic violence related, and 1 for breaking and entering. And last but not least, Monday, November 16th, there's the North End, there's a family dinner at 6 p.m. here at the Nozaro Center. I think it's the North End Against Drugs, if I'm not mistaken. As always, unless otherwise stated, the public safety meetings are held the first Thursday of every month in this room at 6 p.m. So that means the next one is Thursday, December 3rd. Thank you.
Can I ask you, any news in the public safety meeting on my pet issue, which is the MS-13 and their increased activity?
Absolutely not.
All right, so are they decreasing activity in East Boston, or are
I
they?
haven't heard anything about East Boston, but it is a concern also.
Well, it is. I mean, I would appreciate if we could keep our finger on it. They're only in East Boston now. What I'm concerned about is the spread over the harbor over here.
They're not coming here.
A notorious bad gang, and they're operating in East Boston right now.
I'll continue as Captain Fox. Like I said, he is not.
I know he doesn't. I know he's not. But I love the public safety meetings, but I mean, we hear the reports about lower crime and all that. But there is a crime problem just across the harbor, and I just want to hear what steps are taken to make sure that doesn't come here.
All right, I think I can find that out.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, sure.
Excellent. All right, thank you, and past thanks to the Boston Police. They're doing a great job.